The observation deck of Station Meridian hummed with the quiet efficiency of 1,000 automated systems. Ryan Voss had been a junior diplomatic liaison for only 8 months, still learning the intricate dance of interstellar protocol. Tonight, he was supposed to be reviewing trade manifests in Section 7, but curiosity had led him astray. The gardens of Section 12 were restricted, meant only for high-ranking officials and their guests. But Ryan had heard rumors of their beauty: bioluminescent flora from a dozen worlds, water features that defied gravity, air thick with intoxicating fragrances. Just one glimpse, he told himself. No one would know. He slipped through a maintenance corridor, his heart pounding with the thrill of minor transgression. The garden exceeded every expectation. Crystalline trees sparkled with inner light, their branches swaying to no earthly breeze. Flowers bloomed in impossible colors, their petals seeming to shift between dimensions. That's when he saw her. Solara Thane stood beside a cascading fountain of liquid starlight, her tall, elegant frame draped in what appeared to be ceremonial robes, or perhaps nothing at all. The Valesian diplomat species was known for their luminous skin, which seemed to absorb and reflect light in mesmerizing patterns. Right now, those patterns swirled across her exposed shoulders and arms in what Ryan suddenly realized was a deeply private ritual. Her people bathed in stellar radiation to maintain their biological rhythms. This was her meditation, her moment of vulnerability. Their eyes met. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. Solara's pupils dilated, the faint glow intensifying. For a moment, neither moved. The air between them crackled with an energy that had nothing to do with the exotic plants surrounding them. He should run. He should apologize. He should do anything except stand there, transfixed by the way light danced across her skin, tracing the elegant curves of her neck, the strong line of her collarbones. "Junior Officer Voss," she said, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. Not angry, something else entirely. "You've wandered quite far from your assigned sector." "Ambassador Thane, Words failed him. Every protocol, every diplomatic phrase he'd memorized fled his mind. She stepped forward, and Ryan noticed how the light clung to her, as if reluctant to let go. Her species moved with a fluid grace that made humans seem clumsy by comparison. She was perhaps a foot taller than him, and her presence filled the garden with an authority that was both intimidating and strangely alluring. "Your species," she said softly, "places great value on privacy, does it not?" "Yes, Ambassador. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean—" She raised one long-fingered hand, silencing him. "Mine as well. The question is, what should be done about this unfortunate encounter?" The way she said encounter sent a shiver down his spine that had nothing to do with fear. Solara circled him slowly, like a predator assessing prey, or perhaps something more complex. Ryan forced himself to remain still, though every instinct screamed at him to flee. The garden's exotic scent seemed to intensify, making his head swim. "In my culture," she continued, "there are 2 responses to such a breach. The first is formal sanction. Your career will be over before morning. The second—" She paused directly in front of him, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. "The second is a test of worthiness." "Worthiness," Ryan managed, his voice barely above a whisper. "You've seen me in a moment of intimacy, young officer. That creates a bond, whether we wish it or not. Among my people, such bonds must be acknowledged." Her fingers, cool despite their glow, touched his chin, tilting his face up to meet her gaze. "I find myself curious about you, Ryan Voss. Curious whether this intrusion was the bumbling of a fool or the boldness of someone remarkable." His pulse hammered in his ears. It was an accident." "Was it?" Those luminous eyes seemed to see straight through him. "You could have turned away the moment you entered. You could have fled when you saw me, yet you stayed. Why?" The truth tumbled out before he could stop it. "Because you were beautiful." A smile played at her lips, revealing teeth just slightly sharper than human. "Honesty. Good. You'll need that for what comes next." She stepped back, and Ryan found he could breathe again. With a gesture, she activated a holographic display that materialized between them, showing a complex 3-dimensional diagram covered in alien symbols. "This is the Caliph Accord," Solara explained, her tone shifting to something more businesslike, though her eyes never lost their intensity. A diplomatic puzzle that stumped negotiators for 3 cycles. 5 different species, each with competing interests, territorial disputes, and cultural taboos. Solve it. Find a framework that satisfies all parties, and I'll forgive your intrusion completely. Ryan stared at the display, his mind reeling. Ambassador, I'm just a junior officer. I don't have the authority or experience. You have 1 hour, she interrupted smoothly, and I have all the confidence you'll need. She moved closer again, her hand finding his shoulder. The touch sent electricity through him. But understand this, Ryan. If you fail, the consequences will be severe, not just for your career. What do you mean? Her smile widened, becoming something predatory and promising all at once. If you fail, you'll owe me a debt. One I'll collect in whatever manner I see fit. Her fingers traced down his arm, leaving trails of sensation in their wake. And I can be very creative about collecting debts. Before Ryan could respond, alarms suddenly blared throughout the garden. Red emergency lights flickered to life, casting strange shadows through the bioluminescent plants. Security sweep, Solara said calmly, though her hand remained on his arm. They've detected the unauthorized access. You now have 53 minutes to solve the puzzle, Ryan, and avoid being caught by station security in a restricted area with a foreign diplomat. Time is running out. She guided him toward a hidden alcove behind the waterfall where a private console awaited. Work here. I'll handle any interruptions. But know this, every second you spend hiding is a second not spent on the puzzle. As security footsteps echoed in the distance, Ryan sat before the console, his mind racing. This was insane. Impossible. And yet, as he glanced back at Solara, standing guard with that enigmatic smile, he felt something ignite within him, determination mixed with something far more dangerous. Ryan's fingers flew across the holographic interface, pulling apart the layers of the Calith Accord. The puzzle was elegant in its complexity. 5 species, each represented by a different color in the 3-dimensional diagram, their territories overlapping in impossible ways. The Vex required mineral-rich asteroids. The Quellan needed void space for their breeding grounds. The Thorians claimed religious significance over certain coordinates. The humans wanted trade routes. The Velesians, Solara's people, desired meditation zones free from electromagnetic interference. Every solution he attempted created new conflicts. Protect the Thorian holy sites, and the human trade routes became non-viable. Secure the Vex mining rights, and the Quellan breeding grounds were compromised. 38 minutes! Solara's voice came from behind him, silk over steel. He glanced back. She'd moved to block the alcove entrance, her body backlit by the garden's otherworldly glow. Security officers' voices echoed closer now, their scanner lights sweeping through the foliage. Ambassador Thane, we're detecting 2 life signs in this sector. You're detecting me, Officer Roth, Solara replied smoothly. I'm conducting my evening meditation. The second signature must be a system glitch. This garden's exotic plant life often interferes with your equipment. A pause. Ryan held his breath, hands frozen over the console. We'll need to verify that, Ambassador. Protocol also requires respecting diplomatic immunity and sacred cultural practices, Solara interrupted, her tone sharp now. Or has the station commander decided to create an interstellar incident tonight? Ryan heard the officers retreat, muttering apologies. But they wouldn't give up. He had maybe 20 minutes before they returned with override codes and questions Lara couldn't deflect. You're impressive, he whispered when she returned to his side. The way you handled them. I've had centuries of practice, Ryan. Diplomacy is seduction of a different kind. Knowing what people want, what they fear, and using both to guide them where you need them to go. Her hand rested on his shoulder again, her thumb tracing absent circles that made concentration nearly impossible. Speaking of which, how's my puzzle coming? I'm missing something. There's a solution here. I can feel it, but you're thinking like a human, she murmured, leaning closer. Her breath was warm against his ear. Linear. Sequential. What if I told you the answer requires thinking in 4 dimensions? Time? Ryan blinked, looking at the diagram with fresh eyes. You mean stagger the claims? The Vex mine, the asteroids first. Then when they're depleted, the Quellan use them for breeding, and... Keep going, Solara encouraged, her fingers now moving through his hair, gentle but possessing. You're close. Ryan's mind raced, building the solution layer by layer. A temporal framework where each species' needs were met sequentially, their claims overlapping in time rather than space. The Thorian holy days became protected periods where all other activity ceased. The human trade route shifted seasonally to avoid the Quilon breeding cycles. The Velesian meditation zones rotated through coordinates, ensuring electromagnetic quiet in turn. 22 minutes, Solara whispered, and security is accessing override protocols. They'll be through my diplomatic protections in 10. Ryan's hand shook as he input the final parameters. The hologram reorganized itself, the 5 colors no longer clashing, but flowing together in an elegant temporal dance. Then a new alarm, this one from his console. His solution had triggered an automated diplomatic protocol review. "What's happening?" he asked. Solara studied the screen, and for the first time he saw surprise flicker across her luminous features. "Your solution. It's being transmitted to all 5 species diplomatic cores for real-time evaluation. Ryan, if they accept it, you won't just have solved my puzzle. You'll have solved an actual 3-year interstellar deadlock." Their eyes met, and the air between them felt charged with more than just possibility. The hologram pulsed as responses began flooding in. First, the Quilon, acceptance, with minor modifications. Then the Thorians, enthusiastic approval, citing religious prophecy about the solution coming from unexpected hands. The Vex were characteristically brief. Acceptable. The human delegation's response appeared next, and Ryan's heart sank. "This exceeds Junior Officer Voss's authority. Recommend immediate suspension, pending review of how he accessed classified diplomatic materials." "Damn," he breathed. Solara's hand found his again, squeezing gently. "Wait." The final response materialized from the Velesian diplomatic corps. Ryan couldn't read the alien script, but he watched Solara's expression shift from concern to something that looked almost like pride. "They've granted you provisional diplomatic authority," she translated, her voice carrying an emotion he couldn't quite identify. "Retroactive to the moment you began working on the puzzle. Which means—" She turned to face him fully, her luminous eyes searching his. "You weren't unauthorized when you accessed those materials. You were acting under my direct invitation." "But I wasn't—" "Weren't you?" That enigmatic smile returned. "I saw you enter the garden 15 minutes before you discovered me, Ryan. I could have stopped you at any point. Could have alerted security. Could have simply dismissed you." The implications crashed over him like a wave. "This was all... You planned this?" "Not all of it," Solara admitted, stepping closer. They were nearly chest to chest now, her otherworldly warmth enveloping him. "I didn't plan to find you as captivating as I do. That was unexpected. But yes, I've been watching you for weeks. Your personnel file showed promise, but I needed to see how you performed under pressure, how you thought when protocol and procedure couldn't help you." She reached up, cupping his face with both hands. The gesture was intimate, possessive, and Ryan found himself leaning into it despite his shock. "You're angry," she observed. "You feel manipulated." "Shouldn't I be?" "Perhaps. Or perhaps you should recognize an opportunity when it's presented. The Caliph Accord is real, Ryan. The solution you found will save lives, prevent conflicts, and open trade worth billions. And you?" Her thumb traced his lower lip, sending shivers through him. "You did that. Yes, I provided the circumstances, but the brilliance was yours." Security footsteps approached again, closer now. Solara's expression shifted, becoming all business even as her hands remained on him. "In approximately 30 seconds, Officer Rolfe will breach this alcove with proper authorization. When he does, he'll find a junior officer who was specifically requested by me to assist with a sensitive diplomatic matter. Your presence here was entirely proper, entirely planned. Do you understand?" Ryan's mind spun. "Why are you protecting me?" "Because I want you on my team," Solara replied simply. "The real question is whether you want to be there. Working closely with me means long hours, constant travel between worlds, and—" Her voice dropped lower, more intimate, navigating the complications of our attraction to each other, which I suspect won't be easy. "Our—" "What?" She laughed, the sound like music. "Oh, Ryan, Did you think I didn't notice how you look at me? How your pulse races when I touch you? How you've been trying so hard not to stare at my skin the way my people's bioluminescence moves? She leaned in, her lips nearly brushing his ear. I notice everything, and I find myself equally fascinated by you. The footsteps were right outside now. So Solara whispered, when Officer Roth enters, what will you say? That this was all a terrible mistake? Or that you accept my offer to become my personal diplomatic aide with all the privileges and complications that entails? Ambassador Thane, Officer Roth's voice called out. Override authorization confirmed. We're coming in. Ryan looked into those luminous eyes and made his choice. Officer Roth entered the alcove with 3 security personnel, scanners drawn, only to find Ambassador Solara Thane standing calmly beside Junior Officer Ryan Voss at a diplomatic console, reviewing what appeared to be official documents. Officer Roth, Solara greeted him coolly. I appreciate your diligence, but as you can see, everything here is quite proper. Officer Voss has been assisting me with a sensitive matter at my explicit request. Ambassador, our records show no such request filed. Because it was classified under Valesian diplomatic privilege, which I'm now officially declassifying. She activated her personal comm, displaying official authorization codes. Officer Voss has been granted provisional diplomatic status to assist with the Calith Accord negotiations. Check with your command center. They should have the confirmation by now. Roth's expression shifted from suspicion to confusion as he checked his own device. Yes, Ambassador. The authorization is here, but protocol requires that we... Protocol is satisfied, Solara said firmly. You may return to your regular duties. As the security team retreated, Ryan realized he'd been holding his breath. The moment they were alone again, he turned to Solara, words tumbling out. That was insane. This whole thing, the test, the puzzle, the near arrest. Was necessary, Solara finished. Diplomacy at the highest levels isn't about following rules, Ryan. It's about knowing when to break them, how to navigate crises, and maintaining composure when everything is falling apart. You passed every test, even the ones you didn't know were happening. And what happens now? Solara's expression softened, becoming more vulnerable than he'd yet seen. Now we face the consequences of our choices. You've accepted a position that will put you in constant proximity to me. Your career trajectory just accelerated by a decade, which will earn you enemies among your peers. And She paused, seeming to choose her words carefully. We have to navigate what this is between us. This? She moved closer, her hand finding his chest, resting over his heart. When my people bond with someone, when we allow ourselves to be seen in our most vulnerable moments, it creates a connection. I showed you my meditation, my private self. That wasn't part of any plan, Ryan, that was real. And now I find myself wanting things I shouldn't, given our professional relationship. Ryan's hand covered hers. What kinds of things? This, she whispered, and closed the distance between them. The kiss was gentle at first, exploratory, as if they were both testing unknown waters. Then it deepened, becoming something hungrier, more urgent. Solara's luminescence intensified, patterns of light dancing across her skin and reflecting on his. When they finally parted, both breathing hard, she rested her forehead against his. This complicates everything, she murmured. I know. There will be scandal. Questions about propriety, about whether I manipulated you, about whether this compromises our diplomatic work. I know that too. And yet, Solara pulled back slightly, studying his face. You're smiling. Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, Ryan admitted. Yes, you manipulated circumstances. Yes, this is complicated and probably against a dozen regulations, but you also gave me a chance to prove myself, to use my mind for something that matters. And whatever this is between us, he gestured at the space where their bodies nearly touched, where her light seemed to reach for him. It's worth navigating the complications. Solara's smile transformed her face, making her seem younger, less like an ancient diplomat and more like someone discovering something new and wonderful. Then we'll navigate them together. Starting tomorrow, you begin training as my aide. You'll need to learn 3 more languages, memorize 17 different cultural protocols, and adapt to working what humans call impossible hours. And tonight? Her smile took on a mischievous edge. Tonight, I think we've earned a celebration. Come, I'll show you the rest of these gardens, the parts that are truly private, and we can discuss. Her hand slid into his, fingers intertwining. All the ways this arrangement might evolve. As they walked deeper into the bioluminescent paradise, leaving behind the alcove and all its deceptions and revelations, Ryan found himself speechless once again. Not from fear or shock, but from the absolute certainty that his life had just irrevocably changed for the better. Behind them, the Calith Accord hologram continued pulsing with confirmations, each one a testament to what they'd accomplished together. Ahead of them lay 1,000 new challenges, complications, and possibilities. And between them, in that charged space where light and shadow danced, something rare and precious had begun to grow.